Hi, everybody. It is so good to reconvene again. We have gotten so much positive feedback on the prior 4 series that we decided to continue on with Wellness Wednesdays, but with a very optimistic theme right now. I'm kicking off this series on how to experience joy in the midst of the COVID pandemic, because it has been a very character-building 19 months since COVID struck here in the United States. We were so hoping we would be through most of the pandemic by now. A lot of people are languishing. They're not depressed, they're not thriving, but they're somewhere in the middle. They're struggling. Energy is low. And if you find yourself languishing, I just want to reinforce, you are not alone. But there are some brief evidence-based tactics that we can all do to experience joy in the midst of the pandemic. Right now, 1 out of 3 people in the United States are struggling with depression, anxiety, burnout. And so many people are attempting to cope with unhealthy behaviors. So we've seen rises in unhealthy eating, alcohol use, and declines in physical activity. And what that will lead to, if we don't take urgent action today, is we're going to see even higher rates of obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure as the years go on. So again, if you're languishing today, you're feeling stressed today, I hope to give you some tips on how to bring more joy into your life. Cope with COVID and these evidence-based tips. It's something I created in March of 2020, and I share this in all talks that I give at the university as well as nationally, because if we can just get into the habit of practicing some of these evidence-based strategies every day, we're going to decrease our stress and improve our mood. Well, I want to talk about joy versus happiness. Both involve positive feelings, but happiness comes from external factors like situations, events, people, places, and our thoughts, whereas joy comes from the internal factors and involves what we believe is important in our lives, what we are passionate about, what is meaningful in our lives. Well, I came across a recent study that was published, so there is evidence behind this tip. People who watch just a few minutes of puppies or small animals that were playful, they really did improve their happiness along with their health. So what I want to do now is show you this fabulous little clip of puppies doing some really cool things. Let's watch this very brief clip. I just love that little clip when I found it. But again, there's the evidence behind it. The trick is, if you find some short clips like that make you feel happy, take some breaks during your day and engage in a few things, whether it's putting on some music and dancing to it, watching some clips like this. But when you do this, fully engage with the activity. Don't think about what you have to do the rest of the day. Don't feel guilty about what you maybe didn't do today. Worry about the future and guilt about the past are the two most wasted emotions. So when we talk about being mindful, we talk about just being fully engaged in the present moment, not thinking about anything else. Mindfulness is key to decrease worry and guilt. Well, we've got many barriers today to experiencing joy. We've got to recover from trauma. There's been so much trauma that has happened, not only with COVID-19, but the racial and political tensions that have existed in this country for the past year. Your interests have changed. What you used to enjoy before the pandemic might not be working for you anymore, and that's okay. Sadness often keeps us connected. If we have lost people during the pandemic, And if you're currently struggling with depression, anxiety, or stress to the point that it's interfering with your concentration, your functioning, please get some help. Talk to your primary care provider. Call our employee assistance program. For one, we've got to remember it's not selfish to take care of ourselves. It's a strength to recognize when we need a little help. It's not a weakness. So joy right now at this point in time may not happen naturally. Just like any other healthy lifestyle behavior that takes daily practice, we need to make joy a habit. And that requires mindfulness, being in the present moment. So I'm going to ask each and every one of you joining me today, take some time to reflect. When do you feel the most joyful? What types of activities are you doing? Who are you connecting with? Jot those things down, because we have a tendency to forget and get disconnected from what brings us joy and what we're passionate about. Allow yourself some time to reevaluate your life's priorities, your dreams, your values, and beliefs. So I have outlined 13 ways to renew and enhance your joy in everyday life. You know, because of the chronicity of the pandemic, there are so many people that have lost their ability to dream. We need to get to dreaming again. I always ask people, if I could be your fairy godmother and give you any dream that you could come true in the next 3 to 5 years, what are you going to do if you know you cannot fail? But it's not enough to dream it. We've got to write it down. We've got to put it where we can see it every day. If we are aligned with our dreams and our passions, we're going to be excited to get out of bed every single day and come to work. It's when we're not aligned anymore with our dreams and our passions that we lack energy. We get fatigued. We're not excited to get out of bed on a Monday morning. So if you've lost your joy, I'm going to really encourage you, start dreaming again. Get connected again with your passions. Start to find meaning in everyday life. All of you know, I have been so promoting take and give a dose of vitamin G for gratitude every single day. Gratitude is one of the simplest practices that if we engage in it every day, our health, our mental health will so benefit. Try within your teams, at your work sites, make a gratitude board. As people come into work or Zoom, have everybody say, what are a couple of things or people they're grateful for today? It really helps to improve mood. Be mindful in the present moment, not chock full of mindful things to do. I used to pride myself on being the best multitasker in the whole wide world until I went to corporate athlete who taught me being mindful, that's full of activities in the mind, multitasking was the enemy of full engagement, and it robs our joy. Be kind, not only to others, but to yourself. During this pandemic, especially, you all are such high achievers. It's okay to be kind to yourself. Drop your expectations just a little bit. It's okay to do that. Work on healing and on forgiving, because holding grudges steals our joy. Be yourself. Be authentic. Recognize your strengths. Get aligned with those. We all have limitations, but let's not focus on our limitations so much. Let's focus on our strengths. Paying forward. Buckeyes do that best. Volunteering helps to bring so many people joy. Connecting with nature, connecting with family, friends. Get into the habit of laughing and having fun at work. There is no sin to having fun at work. Laughter is so good for us. We get endorphins released that help us to feel joy and happiness. Associate with positive people. That doesn't mean we can't offload or share some of the things that are bothering us, but you want to continue to associate with people that'll listen, but they'll uplift you. And then lastly, put some of the cognitive behavior therapy-based techniques that I've taught you in prior lectures in the practice. Catch, check, and change your negative automatic thoughts, because we don't even realize we have them. But when your mood changes for the worse, you get stressed, anxious, or depressed, stop and say to yourself, what was just going through my mind right now? Is it helpful? Is it true? Do I really have the evidence to back it up? The answer 9 times out of 10 is going to be no. Then the key is changing that negative thought around to positive so we feel better. So I want you to find meaning today. Answer these questions. Reflect on these questions after the lecture today. What am I passionate about? What am I going to do in the next 2 to 3 years if I know I can't fail? What are my strengths? Write those things down. Because again, if you're following your North Star, what you're passionate about, what your dream is, you will be energized. You will wake up in the morning excited. And then I want you to think about how you can apply your strengths to your dreams, your passions, and your life, no matter how simple they may seem. Be authentic. Embrace the real you. Each and every one of you have so many strengths. And then get involved with a cause or an organization that really matters to you. Take and give that dose of vitamin G every day. Remember to catch, check, and change your automatic negative thoughts, because truthfully, changing your thinking can change your life and help you to experience more joy. And then I want you to remember last year, I talked about PERMA, and I want you to re-engage with some of those concepts: positive emotions, engagement, relationships, finding meaning by answering the last set of questions, and thriving, giving yourself some personal satisfaction and recognition when you've achieved some of your goals and your dreams. Again, I'd like you to reflect upon these questions after the lecture today. What brings you positive emotions? What activities do you totally get lost in, absorbed in? What relationships bring you joy and support? And what can you do to nurture them? What larger purpose, what dream are you connected to? And then what would you like to accomplish next week, next month, the next couple of years? By all means, please remember, self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not a nicety. It's a necessity, because we cannot continue to pour from an empty cup. We as leaders at this university want you to take a little time out of your workday every single day to do something for your self-care. We have so many fabulous wellness programs. We care about each and every one of you. And we know people who engage with us more, they have better health and well-being outcomes. And if you don't take good self-care for you, who can you do it for? Who wants you to be around for a super long time? If you don't do it for yourself, do it for your family, your loved ones who want to keep you around a long time. And please remember, 80% of heart disease and other chronic disease is totally preventable with just a few lifestyle behaviors. Make today your January 1. It takes 30 to 60 days to change or break a not so good habit. Be kind to yourself in the process. If you fall off the wagon, it's okay. Get back on. We've got fabulous health coaches in our health plan. We've got a wonderful employee assistance program. If you haven't attended Health Athlete, it's a fabulous energy management program, and I really encourage you to do that. I'm going to end with a personal story. When I was at the University of Rochester as a research dean, I had an 88-year-old man walk in my office. He said, "Hi, Bern. My name is Lou." I said, "It's great to meet you, Lou, but why are you here to see me?" He said, "Bern, I've read all about your Center for Evidence-Based Practice. I need you to get me some evidence, and I'll tell you why. I was home alone choking about 6 months ago. I inhaled a hardtack candy." He said, "I literally thought I was going to choke to death. I tried to do a self-Heimlich. I put myself over a chair. Nothing was working. It was going dark. I gave it one last attempt. The hardtack candy jutted out, and I survived." After that episode happened, he said, "I wanted to invent a device that if I'm ever, or anybody is ever home alone choking, they could use the device to do a Heimlich." So he pulls out of his briefcase a broom handle that had paper towels, masking tape to it as handles, and a styrofoam block at the bottom. And the idea was you'd put this below your sternum and pump up, and that would relieve the choking object. He said, "My dream, Bern, is for this to be in the household of everybody in America, every living assisted facility." I looked, I said, "Okay, Lou, I can see it, but what do you want from me? You got to get me the evidence behind this." I formed a team, and we designed a clinical trial to make this and get some evidence behind it that it works. I got recruited away to Arizona, and I kind of forgot the project. I left it in my team's hands. 4 years later, in Arizona, my wonderful executive assistant comes in and says, "Bern, there's a guy named Lou from Rochester, New York on the phone for you." I ran to the phone. I picked it up. I said, "Lou, I'm so excited to know you're still alive." He said, "Bern, do you remember that device that you were supposed to get the evidence behind? Your team there never finished it. I now have a patent on Save a Life. I've got a company in China to manufacture it. And Bern, I really need you to get me the evidence now." So at 92 years of age, Lou flies to Arizona with a bigger dream and a big passion still to see his dream come to fruition. It made it and is sold on Amazon. It's fabulous. But I told this story to a group of alums. Two were crying. I went to them after my talk and I said, "Can you tell me why you're crying?" They said, "Bern, we had a fabulous dream to start a cool business 10 years ago. Everybody talked us out of it and said it wouldn't work. Now we sit here with a lot of regret." I said to the two women, "How old are you?" One said 71, one said 72. I said, "Look at Lou. You have the rest of your life. Get a dream again. Pursue your passion, and you will get your joy back." So with that, I want you to do the skills building activity this next week. Please take the time, do these things for the next 7 days. We always appreciate your feedback, so please complete the survey. And next week, we've got a great talk on redirecting your purpose. Thank you, and I'm glad to take a couple of questions.
Thanks, Bern. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A. So the first, I read history shows us pandemics usually last an average of 7 years. Would it make sense to mentally reconcile that to that timeline rather than holding on to hope that it will end any day now or sooner than is realistic?
Boy, that is a fantastic question. So thank you for posing it. I always believed in maintaining hope, because without hope, and there is a shot that this could end earlier than that. But if it doesn't, be kind to yourself and really try and do some of these 13 things I've outlined to bring you joy while it lasts.
And our other question is, how does one be fully engaged in the moment while in an environment of responsibility, prone to distraction? For example, being on a call at work or expecting an important phone call that could come at any time.
Great question again. It takes practice. And I so understand what you're saying. Believe me, been there, done that. Mindfulness, like anything else, is a skill that takes practice. And I encourage you, try 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. Focus on when you find your mind drifting. Bring yourself back to the present moment. Focus on what you can see, hear, feel, and sense. You can do it. You really can.